Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Azeroth Daily for the 15th of December 2010. My name is TotalBiscuit, bringing you your daily dose of WoW news and comment. In the headlines today, this is a bit of a retraction from yesterday. It turns out that one of the emails sent out yesterday about the Gorka Media Group was actually legit, although there are a number of false copies that are going out that appear to be phishing attempts. So this has been confirmed by Blizzard now. They wanted to warn people about the Gorka Media Group. If you're not aware of what happened there, Gorka's sites got hacked and a lot of passwords were stolen. So if you've ever used any of the following websites, then you may wish to consider changing your password. However, the advice that I did give out yesterday does still stand. There is no reason on emails like this to ever click the links in the email. Like, for instance, if you want to change the account password, you just need to go to Battle.net yourself. Don't click links in emails, because more often than not, they can end up being hack attempts. People wonder how it appears to have come from Blizzard. Well, there is a way of doing that. It's simply called spoofing. It allows you to hide the true nature of where the mail actually came from. And it's often used by those engaging in scams and phishing attempts. Do be careful, folks. Otherwise, you could end up clicking on an email like this, which is, let's be honest, not quite as well put together as most hack attempts. Again, regardless, just go to Battle.net yourself. Don't click links. There is no reason to. The latest round of hotfixes has come out from Blizzard in regards to Cataclysm, and I would recommend that you go and have a look at it. The link's in the description below. There are an awful lot of them. Some may apply to you. That's the thing with hotfixes. It's a very long list of things that are often very, very minor, but it's worth having a look at them nonetheless. My pick of the litter, folks, is the fact that the alchemy mount, the Vial of the Sands, is no longer bind on pickup, so you can sell it. And in a very handy gesture, they've now added a teleporter to the start of the Halls of Origination once you've killed the first boss. Considering the size of that dungeon, that is very much appreciated. And with that, it's time for your Daily Blues. Thera has released a very lengthy explanation as to why paladins were nerfed today, and that is specifically because of mana efficiency. Apparently the complication lay in a component called Tower of Radiance, which when combined with Light of the Dawn and Holy Light could cause a really easy healing rotation that barely took any mana whatsoever. Needless to say, this was not intended, and it's certainly not in line with the way the Cataclysm healing is, so they've taken steps to change that, which has resulted in some fairly hefty nerfs to the abilities I've just mentioned. If you want to check it out in full, then I would suggest that you click the link below and have a good long read of it. The abysmally named skill score is responsible for this particular abomination of a thread, which resulted in Bashiok going to town with a little bit of Wikipedia. In his fairly clever but a little bit pseudo-intellectual post, he actually attacks the use of stereotypes, and indeed goes as far as to say that using the armory to justify your points within an argument is a particularly bad way of debating. Considering how much I've met that particular attitude in the past, I would happily agree with that particular assessment. Indeed, it is a sad state of affairs when people have to simply click a button and go, oh la lol, you do not have this achievement, in order to actually justify their point, as opposed to, oh, I don't know, debating it? There's an idea, isn't it? The use of facts and rationality. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a wistful rant about something that will never actually happen. CynicalBrit.com. And with that, it's time for your daily grind. Now, this particular quest involves cleansing the Shrine of Logash, aka Goldrin, who you might be aware of if you have any semblance of understanding of the Worgen lore. Now, the final quest in this short chain involves killing Lycanthoth the Corruptor and releasing the spirit of Goldrin, who goes on to own everything within a 20-mile radius. Riding on top of a giant wolf and slaughtering corrupted Worgen is fairly damn enjoyable. You can pick up this quest about an hour or so into the Hyjal questing, and it's very, very enjoyable indeed, if only just to simply watch the carnage. And with that, it's time for your weekly feature, and today it is the Court of Law. Today's subject for the Court of Law will be cho'gall, who I'm going to give you some background information on, as well as the lore up to this point. So, cho'gall was trained by Gul'dan in the ways of the arcane, and he ended up becoming a leader of a clan whose old name has actually now been completely forgotten. Some say it was deliberately expunged by the Shadow Council. The leader of the old clan was executed for disloyalty, and cho'gall was installed, at which point he renamed it the Twilight's Hammer Clan. He went on to use his powers to assist Gul'dan in the creation of the first Death Knight, as well as further Ogre Magi. Now, you might remember that we're talking about the old school version of Death Knights here, from Warcraft 2, the mounted undead spellcasters, as opposed to the Lich King created Death Knights that we know today. Unfortunately for cho'gall, much of the original Twilight's Hammer clan was destroyed in the Battle of the Broken Isles, which occurred while Gul'dan was attempting to discover the tomb of Sargeras. They were attacked by the Blacktooth Grin clan, who were ordered to destroy them when they abandoned the Second War on the Alliance at a crucial point. And the people leading that particular attack, you might also be aware of, were Rend and Maim Blackhand. Now, unfortunately for everybody, he was not killed at the time, and cho'gall ended up taking refuge within the Temple of Anchorage. Cho'gall wasn't exactly the most stable guy at the best of times. He's a little bit loopy, to say the least, and in the presence of the corpse of Cthulhu, he was gradually driven even more crazy and also mutated by the lingering power of the dead old god. So his plan was to attempt to sacrifice the current guardian of Tirisfal, who is named Madan, in order to bring about Cthulhu's resurrection. Unfortunately for him, he was prevented from doing so and eventually buried under the rubble of Anchorage, where again he was presumed dead. And he wasn't, needless to say. Cho'gall actually survived. He's the driving force behind the Twilight's Hammer clan, and he was also directly responsible for the Doomsday cults and elemental invasions of Stormwind, Ironforge, Thunderbluff, and Orgrimmar. He's in control of a large buildup of elemental troops as well as Twilight's Hammer cultists over in the Twilight Highlands, and is now chilling out at the top of the Bastion of Twilight, taunting foolhardy adventurers who would dare challenge his supremacy. Of course, the wisest of us know that he's not the true power dwelling within the dread tower of the Twilight's Hammer. Oh no, we shall see her later. There you go, folks, there's a rundown of cho'gall, and with that, it's time for the mailbox. This one comes in from Macrador, who says, "Hi, TotalBiscuit, I've got an annoying choice to make. A few days ago, I looted Ritzen's Ruminous Drape from a random mob. For me, being a mage, it's a good improvement. However, it's also worth around 17,000 gold on the auction house in my realm. So I have a choice between lots of gold or a better cloak. Normally, I would take the improvement to help my guild in raid progression, but because we're this early on in the expansion, we just have a 10-man group at 85 grinding loot in heroics, so we're going to be starting raiding in a few weeks. My question is this: is it worth equipping? I don't need the gold, and it is an improvement, but if Blizzard is going to do the same with points as they did with the emblems, is there even a point in actually wearing it?" Oh man, that has existed ever since the start of the game. I remember a very, very similar debate within an old guild of mine over the Kroll Blade, which was a very powerful one-handed sword. And there was a huge debate that raged for days about what we were going to use this Kroll Blade for. This guy was thinking, oh, well, should I equip the Kroll Blade? Because right now it's really, really great. And it was at the time. I mean, it was a really amazing weapon. Or should I wait for a drop in Molten Core or whatever? It's always going to be on a case-by-case basis, but to help you decide, I'd like to show you another item which is called the Haunt of Flies. This item is basically identical, slightly better as far as I can see, and it is available via the use of the Valor currency. Now, if you want to know how long this is going to take you to get, you could run 17 daily heroics, that would get you enough, or you could do 17 10-man raid bosses, which is obviously not really an option for you at the moment, or you could do 12 25-man raid bosses, again, not really an option. Bear in mind, though, folks, that this is not a huge upgrade from something like, say, this, which is available from the Reputation vendor in Vashia. So that's also another possibility. Bear in mind that 17,000 gold for some people is an awful lot of money, and for others it is entirely worthless. So I have to ask, well, what are you going to spend the money on? Are you going to use it later on in the expansion? Just make the decision based on the facts that you have at your disposal. This one comes in from Nicole, who says, "There have been an awful lot of posts on the forums lately about guild leveling cap. Now, I play in a moderately large guild, and although sometimes we can have a bit of trouble making daily cap, we find that if we get enough people on, it's very possible to make it through. Although some people have been arguing as to whether or not the guild cap should be removed. I think it just needs a little bit of tuning up. Big guilds are calling for a cap expansion for them because they believe they are better. I've sent this email because I wonder what your thoughts are on the matter since you are in such a large guild." Indeed, we are. Now, I do think there should be a cap. As to what that amounts to, it's tricky. because they're trying to figure out exactly what the right cap is. We've seen they've already changed it. They've vastly nerfed the amount of experience you earn from doing quests, for instance. So that has been cut down to a quarter of what it was before. So it seems to me it's going to be an ongoing process. They didn't have the opportunity to actually judge this properly in the beta because they massively accelerated everything so everyone could get to 25 and test out stuff like, say, the mass resurrection, which I might add had to be tested because it didn't work properly when we first had it in the beta. So it's pretty important. However, I think that this is going to be an ongoing process. I don't believe that there shouldn't be a cap. I think that's ridiculous. I know I'm in a massive guild, so it would benefit me greatly if there were no cap. That doesn't mean that there should be no cap. There absolutely should be a cap. I just don't think the cap should be so low that every single guild is always at exactly the same level. That defeats the entire point of the exercise. And indeed, more competition within the game is a good thing. It makes people strive to be better. And of course, in a guild environment, you want people contributing and helping out and feeling like they're part of a team effort. I think that's very positive for the game and very positive for social guild play as well. There you go, folks. That's been your Azeroth Daily for today. You might have noticed that I've added some annotations to the side of this video. This is like a little menu that helps you skip through to the segments that you actually want to see. So maybe you don't care about the mailbox, or you don't care about the Court of Law or whatever. You can use these little links and you can skip directly through, although make sure you have annotations enabled, otherwise you will not be able to see them. Thank you very much, folks, and I will see you next time.